Usually when people picture artificial general intelligence, they imagine this warehouse-sized supercomputer that has basically ingested the entire internet. But what if true AGI doesn't look like a global data center at all? What if it starts as, like, a completely empty box?
Yeah, that empty box is actually the foundation of a really fascinating new bio-inspired framework called NAGI. We have a huge stack of research in front of us today for this deep dive, looking at this exact shift. And the mission here is to pinpoint exactly what separates true organic machine intelligence from the, massive data crunching models we use right now.
Right. To do that, the NAGI paper basically strips intelligence down to its absolute bare minimum, right?
Exactly. They define the simplest form of artificial general intelligence as simply an organism's ability to continuously self-learn and adapt. And it does this in a constantly changing environment of increasing complexity.
Which is so different from what we do now. It reminds me of a human child touching a hot candle flame. Like, the child doesn't need to review a labeled data set of 10,000 candles to understand heat.
No, not at all. The physical environment provides an immediate, very practical lesson.
So if a baby learns from the environment like that, how does that actually differ from how our current AI learns? Because I think people get really confused by that.
Well, it's a complete departure from memorizing facts. Current AI systems are largely built through traditional machine learning methods, so supervised and reinforcement learning, which relied heavily on explicit training.
Right, you feed a system massive labeled data sets.
Yeah, and you use what's called a loss function. Think of a loss function as like a global mathematical referee.
Yeah.
When the AI guesses wrong, it uses complex math, like gradient descent, to calculate exactly how wrong it was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then it manually adjusts the data connections across the entire network to fix that error.
It's basically micromanagement. You're constantly telling the system, here's a picture of a candle, here's the label hot, you were off by this percentage, now fix your math.
Exactly, and it's usually doing this in a totally static environment. But the NAGI framework throws that micromanagement out the window. It favors actual self-learning.
By dropping them into a dynamic environment.
Right. Digital agents are dropped into changing environments with literally zero innate knowledge. Their digital brains have completely untrained connections.
And this is where the concept of embodiment becomes critical. Because without that global math referee telling them they're wrong, they have to learn by living, essentially.
Yeah, the researchers embed rewards like pleasure or survival signal and penalties like pain directly into the agent's sensory data. So pain here isn't a complex emotion.
It's just a hard-coded negative signal.
Exactly, linked directly to harmful environmental stimuli.
Okay, but let me push back on the mechanics of this for a second.
Yeah.
If you drop a digital agent into a chaotic environment with literally zero inherited knowledge and no explicit goals programmed into it, isn't it just like blindly stumbling around in the dark?
It sounds like it would be.
Right. How does it avoid this digital pain long enough to actually learn anything?
Well, it survives because while the specific knowledge isn't inherited, the actual machinery to learn is inherited.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the system uses a simulated evolutionary process. Over generations, it evolved the network's physical structure, its topology, and its rules for neuroplasticity.
Like Hebbian learning, the old neuroscience rule, right? Neurons that fire together, wire together.
Yes, exactly that. If a digital agent touches something harmful, those specific sensory neurons fire at the exact same time as the pain neurons.
So the evolved Hebbian rules immediately strengthen the connection between that specific object and the feeling of pain.
You got it. The agent learns locally and instantly from the experience. It reshapes its own brain on the fly without needing a programmer to update a massive global spreadsheet of errors.
That is wild. It is literally evolving the architecture to process experiences rather than just inheriting memorized answers from its ancestors.
Which shifts the paradigm completely.
It really does. If you think about what this means for you, the listener, for the future of how we approach computing, we are moving away from building these rigid, data-hungry encyclopedias. We're moving towards cultivating adaptable, self-learning organisms.
Yeah, it forces us to redefine our relationship with machines entirely. We are no longer feeding them intelligence. We're just dropping them into an environment and letting that intelligence emerge naturally.
Which leaves you with a pretty wild concept to ponder as we wrap up.
Yeah.
If we successfully build AGI by giving it a virtual body that actively seeks pleasure and avoids painful penalties just to survive,